In this demonstration, we're going to take a look at how we can use home groups to share information and data between multiple computers within a home network. The first thing you have to have in mind that home groups are only allowed to have one per LAN network. So basically they're designed for a home network environment where people want to share their data together. The other beauty of home groups is that because home groups can actually create a password, you'll have sort of a more secure environment where only members of the home group can access files and information throughout the home group user environment. So to create a home group, I can do it in two ways. Either open up the control panel and go to home group and create a home group. Have in mind, if a home group already exists within the network, you'll automatically see it here, which you can join it. Another way to create a home group is when you switch your network location from anything other than home to home. So if I go and change it to work, and then I come and change it back to home, notice the first thing it asks me is to create a home group. So I'm going to say, sure, go ahead and create a home group. And I want to share documents, pictures, music, movies, and printers. I'm going to click next. And once the home group is created, a home group password is given to me. I'm going to go ahead and type this password down and save it. Have in mind it is case sensitive. And I'm going to click finish. And I'm going to minimize this. And now my home group is created. Now, a home group is user-based. So based on the files of the user, you will see a home group. So if I open up my computer, notice right now I have no one else in the home group. But if I go to my other desktop, and I go to Control Panel, and I go to Home Group, notice it says there's a home group created on this network. So I'm going to go ahead and join it. I'm going to specify that, you know what, I want to share only documents. So only documents of the admin account on Workstation 2 will shared, and Workstation 1 will have everything shared. I'm going to click next, and obviously it's going to ask me for the home group password. I'm going to go ahead and type it in as it is case sensitive. And once I join the home group, all I have to do is just open up my computer, and under home group, I will see the other computer or computers. I can open up their documents. And as you see, I can gain access to both the user's information and the public user information, meaning everyone's. Now you'll notice there's already some data under the documents folder. So if I go back to workstation number 1 and I go to my documents, there's my new folder. So if I want to create a new file and I go back to workstation 2, notice technically what's being shared is the library of documents. That's why I have both the public documents and the personal My Documents of the user admin. So as you can see, I have my document here. I can go ahead and open it, read the content, but have in mind I can't make changes because when a library is shared, if I go ahead and right click My Library, Share With, and look at the specific people that it's shared with read to the home group. So for example, if I go back to Workstation 1 and I change the documents library, now again I have to do it as my user account, not on the home group because that's the other computer. If I go ahead and change Workstation 1's document library and I go to specific people, notice by default home group is read. If I change that to write and I click share, once that's complete, I'm going to switch back to Workstation 2. And now if I open up the test file and I make a change to it and close it, I can actually save right onto the other computer's documents. So as you can see, I can allow a share readable access to my files and information in the libraries that I have to other users in the home group. Now another thing I can do is I can go back to the control panel. I can go to home group. And you'll notice here I can change my home group settings. So far I'm only sharing documents. So on Workstation 1, if I go ahead and open up the home group on Workstation 2, I only see documents. Well, let's say I want to share. Now I want to share music as well. If I click Save Changes on Workstation 2, and I go to Workstation 1, now music shows up under the home group list as well. If I go back to Workstation 2, I can even go ahead and create a folder here, call it New Documents, And what I can do is I can add it to a library. And once I add it to the documents library, you will see that if I go to Workstation 1 and I look inside the documents library, I have both my documents, public, and the new documents. So as you can see, we can share libraries to home groups. I could have easily created a new library. So if I go to Workstation 2, for example, I'm going to go ahead and create a new library called Game Codes, for example. And inside of Game Codes, I'm going to include a folder from, let's say, my C drive called Game 1 Code. So now I have this library called Game Codes. If I go to Workstation 1 and I look here, notice it's still not here yet because I haven't technically shared it to the home group. Notice if I go back to Workstation 2, I right-click Game Codes and I click on Share with specific people, only I have access to it. The home group users don't. So if I click the drop-down box, choose Home Group, click Add, I can give them read permissions. Or I could have done an easier way. I could have just right-click Game Codes, the library, Share with, Home Group Read or Home Group Write. So if I say Home Group Read, automatically gives read access. If I come back here, notice on Client 1, the Game Codes library pops up automatically, and I have access to the folder underneath the Game Codes library. So as you can see, we can use the home group to share information easily between users in the home group without having to worry about entering additional authentication, username, and passwords. Change or view the password of the home group, as well as leave a home group, you can go ahead to the control panel, go to Home Group, and choose Leave this home group. One last setting to look at is you'll notice when I was connecting, each one of the libraries also is sharing the public folder of that machine as well. Well, if I don't want public folders to be shared, I can go to Control Panel, Network and Sharing, and go to the Advanced Sharing settings. Here I can turn off Network Discovery, which will not allow other computers to see me on the network. I can turn off File and Printer Sharing, and I can turn off Public Folder Sharing, which I'm going to do right now. In addition, I can specify the encryption used for file sharing, and I can also specify that each user account has to connect and use their passwords to connect to the home group folders instead of letting the home group manage everything through that home group password. I'm going to go ahead and click Save Changes. And I'm going to X this out. Now, if I go to Workstation 2, when I click into Home Groups and I click on my admin from the other machine and I click on Public Documents, I don't have access to it because we disabled public folder sharing on Workstation 1. So you can take advantage of home groups to easily share documents, files, folders, music, movies, printers across multiple computers, but only in a Windows 7 environment. Also have in mind, the network location must be identified as a home network for home groups to work.